Hey guys, this is Coach Derek, co-host of the Soapboxing Podcast. Man, ever since I found this Anchor app, I tell you, podcasting has become a lot simpler and a lot easier to do. They distribute the podcast over several platforms, and you have to do no work. I tell you, man, if you're interested in doing podcasting, you need to download the Anchor app. That's ANCHOR.FM. You can get started today with the Anchor app and do whatever your heart desires.
This is Soapboxing Podcast.
Who did you turn professional with?
Your main event of the evening.
Welcome. Thank y'all for joining in. This is actually my first segment with Big Jiff and the Lady Killers. And I invited Derek because God forbid he missed out on this opportunity to speak with y'all. So if you guys don't mind introducing yourselves to our audience, for some people who might not know who you are, unfortunately, let us know.
All right. Aliyah, Angel of Death, Pequeno, 3-0 professionally, and current ABO light featherweight champion.
You hold the belts at 130
and 115. Yes, sir.
Oh,
youngest
cool.
ABO champion.
Youngest as well.
How old are you?
20.
Oh, yay! Well, congratulations
Yes,
on all of your success.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, and who are you, sir?
I am Jimmy from Jimmy's World. I'm actually with Wheeler Fight Management, and we were lucky enough to find this unicorn one day, and here we are.
Oh, I love that unicorn. You're definitely like a unicorn, Aliyah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Let me tell you, I needed to find her. Everyone says, "How'd you guys get together?" And I was like, "Man, I was dying. I was drowning. I had 4 or 5 boxers that I was consistently, paying them a stipend a week and whatever to train, and they wouldn't go to the gym. They were getting paid to train, and they wouldn't go to the gym. And then I had this kid that is constantly at the gym, just outworking everybody, just kind of like that Kobe Bryant. You hear the stories that they work out till midnight or whatever. And so when I saw that, we couldn't believe what was there, and I think we were lucky, and we were at the right place at the right
I was
time.
lucky because now my team supports me in everything, and I wouldn't be the fighter I am without them.
Shout out to Alfonso Lopez, Felix Ramirez,
yes, sir. Otegra Promotions, Movida.
Got to boxing.
That's so
It
cool.
takes a village. I was
about to say, village. It's so cool that you have like so many people in your corners, like literally and figuratively.
I know, right? Like, if Jimmy's not there, I got Felix. If Felix isn't there, I got Alfonso. If Alfonso isn't there, I got Alicio. I got
Robin.
Yes, I got a whole group of people.
You had my wife one time.
I did.
So you got a bunch of uncles and a lot of
ma'am.
people to take care of you. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy, how'd you get into boxing? Were you like always a manager or?
Well, I actually, when COVID started, I've always liked boxing. First and foremost, I've always been a fan of the sport. And when COVID hit, there was a time where a great friend of mine, lifelong friend, Gabriel Bernal, was having he had the Texas Hard Hitters. He still does. So I kind of joined up with him, and we got together, did Movida Fight Management, and then I'm a home builder, so I remodeled the gym, and then I got me some free tuition there, and we just started working with the kids. It was something about because what we want to do is we don't want to have a movement. You know, I've always heard that one minority with an idea is an idiot, and two of us is a movement, and so you can't stop us. And so that's whenever we got together, and then one day we're interviewing. I want to say it was your uncle Adrian for a theater fight, and Alfonso was there, and I see Aliyah just hitting the bag, and she just had
amateur at the time.
Yeah, she was still amateur, and she actually said she had quit boxing, and I was like, why? And then we got to talking, and so what got me into boxing again was just to see the need of so much. There's so much talent out there. There's so much dedication, but there's not a lot of people that are willing to help. And so luckily, God put me in a position where sometimes I can help, and then I want to, but I also want to be cautious of who we help. It has to be someone that's gonna actually give the right message out and actually try to. Because I always tell her that there's a little girl out there that might not want to go on. She might be at her her last breath, and she just takes life, or there might be a kid out there that wants to go do something bad. But having good examples of other people that do what's right, it'll change the world, man. It'll change the generational curses that we've all seen go on for hundreds of years.
Yeah, and that's absolutely true. Derek, you over there quiet. I saw his face move when you said two idiots can. I forgot exactly what you said, but two idiots with an idea.
I said one minority with an idea is an idiot, but two of us is a movement.
Oh, okay, sorry, I didn't call y'all idiots.
I like that.
I've been called worse.
No.
I'm pretty. Everybody that knows me or knows of me, I'm pretty blunt with my opinions. And the first time I seen your gal fight, man, she pulled me in, man, and I'm interested in knowing her background, who what age she started fighting, who she started with, and who trained her all the way up through the amateurs, and who's training her now, man, because she can fight for real.
Yes. Before you answer that, if I can share a story, when I very first met Aliyah, which was about a year and a half ago, I actually had just started back boxing. I took 6 years off because, I had kids, trying to be an adult, trying to be grown. And I was in the gym for about 2 weeks, and everybody was like, oh, this girl, she's coming to spar. She sparred like 5 of us and like ran through all of us. And
I remember that day.
And it was like, I was like, wait, I hadn't sparred in like 6-7 years, and I had got in the ring, and I was like, y'all set me up. Like, I felt like I was in there with about 5.
No,
6.
I remember Jiffy, no matter how hard I would hit her or how many times, she'd keep coming and coming. And I was like, man, this girl just does not stop. She did not stop. She had the heart of a lion.
Thank you. But I remember, like, when we sparred, I was like, I want to do that again. Because for me, that was like, I literally was off for 6 years, and that was the first time I sparred, and I was like, okay, I'm here, and this girl is up here, and I was like, I couldn't wait to spar you again, because, that's where you get your experience from. I'm like, I don't feel like we should ever be fearful to learn anything. So then you came back like 6 or 7 months later, and you said you didn't recognize me, but you recognized the color of my shoes because I was fat, remember?
Yes, I remember. I was like, oh my gosh, she lost so much weight. She was actually skinnier than me this time. I was like 125, you're like 108. I was like,
yeah, I had just had my baby like when we had first sparred, and then after I had been training for some time, I got back to like my regular weight, and then we sparred again, and I was like, okay, cool. She still beat me up every time we spar. She beats me up, but like it really it helps because she's. And I can tell, like, of course, she holds back because she's a lot more experienced than I am, but she works on things, and it really, really teaches me. And I'm like super honored to be in a ring with you every single time. And I always tell you that.
We love Jiffy so
I
much.
know.
She is the best.
I always tell Jimmy, I'm like, I love Jiffy. She always tells me such nice things.
Yeah, and who else is like gonna publicly say like they get their ass whooped when they spar? Like I'm just gonna keep it real.
You're ruined. I mean,
I know you are.
There's so many botchers out there that'll say that they can do one thing or another, and then they just get laid out. So I mean, it's nice to have someone that's honest and and objective when it comes to their opinion of a talent.
Yeah, of course. So thank you for letting me share that. And then do you remember the question that Derek asked you?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
But before you answer that, I want to say that Jiffy has helped us a lot. Meeting us at Main Street, and working with Aliyah.
Because when I can't get any work, you're there all the time.
So Jiffy's definitely been a big help to us. So thank you, and we'll send you like a Starbucks card or something like this.
I love Starbucks. Thank you.
She does her refreshers.
Yeah.
So okay,
that's that bullshit, man. She got me hooked on that bullshit. They're like $6, bro, for a drink, man. It's ridiculous. They good, man. They like dope though. You gotta. I can't pass them up, man.
People complain about the price of a gallon of gas. It moves a 3,000 pound item, vehicle from point A to point B. But if you actually take an 8 ounce, if you divide the $6 into and then you multiply it to make a gallon, you're paying $300 a gallon for some Starbucks. But no one complains about that. So I can't.
Crazy. What you say, babe?
Side note, I'm so sorry. I actually did my budget for this past month, and I spent a lot on Starbucks. I spent like over $200 on Starbucks. Yeah. So I can't. So if y'all want to give me a gift card, I'm good. But I'm not spending no more money on Starbucks.
Tell Uncle Felix to hook it up.
Where you got your start, baby? How you started boxing?
All right. Well, I used to play soccer, and I was really, really good at it. I wanted to go to college. I played for an elite team in the Woodlands. At the time, it was called Texas Rush. Now I think it's like the Dynamos or something like that. And I got tired of losing with my team because I would try so hard and leave my heart on that field. But just because my defense or my goalie didn't feel like showing up that day, we would lose. And I would go home crying.
Tell them apart.
So I remember one day we were playing the Woodlands. This was like in junior high, I want to say. And we lost. I scored 3 goals that day. We lost 3-4. And when the game was over, I was crying. I was like, it's your fault we lost. I gave it everything, but y'all didn't show up today. And that's when I decided I need to do a sport. When I step in the ring, I'm by myself. If I lose, it's because I didn't give it 100%. So I showed up to the boxing gym one day, started jump roping. I could barely jump rope. I was like 12, 13 at that time. Then I started hitting the speed bag. I could barely do it, but I loved the way the sport made you work so hard just for you to get better. It wasn't that you just dribbled the ball a few times or shot around and you were just automatically good. You had to work harder than everyone else to be the best. So it just really, it caught my attention. So I trained out of Fearless for a while, Fearless Boxing Gym in Conroe. And then I went to go spar Roma. I don't know if you remember Roma Lynn.
Yeah.
She trained with Coach Rudy and China Fernandez. And I didn't know they were #1 in the nation at that time. So I went, my dad's like, you're going to go spar some girls. I went to Coach Rudy's gym. I got beat up that day. Beat up. I was crying and crying. And my dad was like, you were just in there with 2 girls that were ranked #1 in the nation and you hung in there. And Coach Rudy, he seen potential in me. And he was like, come train over here with me, huh? And at first I would just hit the bag. And then slowly he started taking his time with me and showing me. And then from there, I started competing, but it was kind of off and on in the amateurs. I was never consistent because it's either we would have a family issue or something would happen with my father or work. So I wasn't able to always make it to the gym, or I didn't have what I needed all the time, if that makes sense, like the healthy food and stuff. So it was hard.
Which gym Rudy had? The old fire station, or which one you was going to?
It was the elite boxing gym in Pasadena, the little snake pit.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like
you know what I'm talking about? Yes, the red wall was very small. It was a little doghouse gym.
Yeah.
I worked hard in that gym. Everyone did. Everyone. And from there, I kept competing. I went to a couple of national tournaments. I would never get that far in it because I would let my nerves get to me, honestly. And I feel like my father, because he took over at that time, his knowledge that he had when it came to boxing, he was just as new to it as I was. So he couldn't take me to where I needed to be because he had never been on those stages, you know? We were experiencing everything together for the first time. So therefore, I would fall up short sometimes, and I'd be devastated about it. And I'd be like, man, maybe this isn't for me. I keep losing, and I would see Jury win, I would see Jocelyn's win, and I would be like, when I spar them, I'm right there with them. Or some days, I might be a little bit better, if you know what I mean. So I was like, what's wrong? And finally, I started winning a little bit, and I was training out of my dad's house. He had a punching bag. We would do mitts outside, just a little basic stuff. And from there, I went to O Athletics. Coop seen me spar one day, and he pulled me to the side. He was like, show up tomorrow at 10. And from there, I started working with Coop and Marlene. And that was recent. I want to say like a year and a half ago. And yeah, maybe two and a half, something like that. And he kind of just took me under his wing, and I was sparring Marlene all the time. I want to say she got me to where I am today because I was getting beat up all the time. At first, I was like, man, maybe this isn't for me because Coop, I want to say, taught at an elite level, and I wasn't there yet. So I would get aggravated and frustrated because I wouldn't know how to parry. I wasn't fast enough. I didn't know how to bow. My legs were a little weak and wobbly. So therefore, it made me work harder because I seen Marlene and how good she was and everything she had at the time. I still want, but, you know, I wanted it so bad, but I felt like I was so far from it. So I would go home, put in the extra work, and I fell off with boxing. I stopped boxing like for a month or two, stopped going up the O. And one day I showed up to Texas Hard Hitters out of Porter. And that's where my uncle Gabe, that is his gym. And that's where I met Jimmy. One day I was just hitting the bag. I was like, man, I miss it, but is it for me? Do I have what it takes to make it? I'm just hitting the bag. And Jimmy saw me and he pulled me to the side. And at that time, my uncle was getting interviewed. And Jimmy was like, what's your name? I was like, Aliyah. And he's like, you're so talented and da-da-da-da, going on and on. And I was like, I don't really know. And he shook my hand and he's like, just trust me, and I'm gonna get you to where you need to be. But first, before you trust me, you need to believe in yourself. And at that moment, he believed in me so much. I want to say he made me start believing in myself again. So, and then from there on, I'm here. We opened the gym, Gods of Boxing. Alfonso Lopez and Felix Ramirez took me under the wing, and I've been going hard ever since.
And she also took my daughter Sydney under your wing, and I mean I'm really grateful for that. She's you know when I couldn't really, you know, I was trying to teach your kid. It's just impossible. I've done T-balls, I've done different sports with my children, but if I ask them to do something, it's no. If someone else asks them to do something, they'll say yes, they don't rebel. And you know, Sydney's a good kid, but I could not get out of her the I guess that effort or that push that another coach would or you know, like a big sister would. So, you know, she would sit there and spar, you know, she would sit there and spar with my daughter. And then so that's kind of how I guess the families became more close, more aligned, because she started going to the gym a lot. And then her and my daughter were just always together. I mean, to the point where
honestly, his daughter made me want to push myself harder because I seen the way she looked up to me, and I was like, oh, because I was like, one day I was like, who's your favorite fighter? We were just talking, and then if I remember correctly, she said me, and I was like, oh my gosh.
I was like, you don't make me cry.
I was like, oh my gosh. I was like,
and
really? And ever since then, I was like, oh, okay, I have more than it's not just about me. I got other people looking at me now. And
I told her that there's probably there's 1,000, there's 10,000 little girls out there that need a strong figure to look up to. And you know, if God gave her the gift to try to get that platform, who are any of us to stop it?
Yeah, and especially like in women's boxing, it's not new, but the popularity of women's boxing is new.
It's growing.
Yeah, it's growing. And then from like back in the day, like when Ann Wolfe and Christy Martin, when they used to fight, they used to try to be like the men and be confrontational and fight at press conferences and things like that. And I think now it's important that people are actually accepting us as women boxers, that we stay true to ourselves.
And I think us as women, we're growing when it comes to boxing. Like, we don't just go in there and brawl. Our IQ, we're smart. Footwork, everything a guy can do, we can do as well. We don't just go in there, because when people look at women's boxing, I feel like they just think of brawling or, oh, they're not that smart, you know? But now I feel like the new generation, we're taking women's boxing to a whole new level.
Yeah,
And that's exactly what we wanted to do as far as Movida management. You know, we wanted to always give someone the opportunity as a minority, whether it's a woman or it's just a, minority by race or just of lesser means. We're fortunate enough to work with a couple of different companies that help fund us to try to be there for different talents that are out there.
Yeah. What does a lot of people ask you where'd your name come from? The Angel of Death?
The Angel of Death, yes, I get it all the time. So basically, my middle name's Angel. And at first, I'm thinking the people's angel. And then I was like, no, not really. And then he was like, well, what about the Angel of Death? And I was like, And then, so I kind of went with it because he's like, I bring death upon people's career, but I'm also an angel. So I was like, yeah, makes sense.
And she kills any career that steps in front of her.
Yeah. If you're my opponent, I'm gonna finish you. It's dead and you're done. Don't play no games at all.
I definitely saw that within this past fight, which I want to touch base on. But I remember, like a while ago, Jimmy, you posted something like I can't believe people are asking me, why if she doesn't worship the devil, or like do people say
exactly
like that?
Yes, all the time. And then I sit down and I explain it to them, and they're like, "Oh, that makes sense." I'm like, "Yes."
I think COVID got people, not having anything to do. They're getting paychecks, so they're at home not doing anything. So it's like let's troll the boxer. I mean, she's a great kid. She goes to church.
Believe it or not, it came from people that were more closer to me than further, if that makes sense. Like it wasn't just random people. It was more people that were in my closer circle.
That's how it is, Even like when you open a business or you try to do anything like productive, it's always the people in your circle that are like naysayers. But
gods of boxing and the Angel of Death, I was like, oh, they think they're gods. And anyways, it was.
What you got to say?
Well, now she answered. Me and Rudy go way back. So, that doesn't surprise me that she was around, that she was picking up some things from him because she can fight. I know your dad because I know your uncle and your dad, and they even came to the gym before and sparred with some of my guys.
Quinnan, right? Correct?
Quinnan? No, they brought.
Yeah.
I think he brought Adrian to spar with Robert, I think, but I'm sure he got in there with Q too if he was there. But this was in a while now. I think this was like before the pandemic. Was Adrian fighting before the pandemic? Yeah, huh?
I believe so. Yes, sir.
That's actually how I ran into her. I got a phone call from Gabe. Adrian was offered a fight in Vegas, and we were trying to negotiate the terms on it. And then at the last minute, they ended up backing out of the fight. So me and Adrian had worked so hard in training, so we were. And it was like a one-time deal. It was something where I was like, yeah, I'll help you out, talking to different people, but it's not really it wasn't my, I didn't wake up in the morning when they say I want to manage, boxers, and especially, over 30 years old, it's just something that I'm not really into. I try to go with the youth, and build them up. But in any case, we ended up putting him on the theater card, and he did an amazing job at that fight, and that's how I wasn't even there that day because we were interviewing him for that fight, letting everyone know that he was going to be on the card, so we can promote it. And that's when I guess Evelyn, his mother, her grandma was there, and she said I could box it, and I was like, what the heck? You got all this talent, and what you don't box? You're just here showing off all this skill, and you don't even box anymore. I was like, please come back tomorrow. I go, you don't got to start boxing again. Just come back and hit the bag some more because maybe some of the kids can learn from you. And it's kind of how I started.
To like ignite that love again, because they say once you get bit by the boxing bug, like that's just
there's no getting away from it.
Yeah.
Like this week, they're like take 5 days off, and I'm like, man, going to my room. I pass the Cobra bag every day, and as of right now, my right hand's kind of injured. So with my left hand, I'll hit the Cobra bag, and he's like, stop hitting it.
It's like what's there in the morning, and me and the wife, it's Friday, Saturday morning, we're trying to get some sleep, and then she's hitting the Cobra bag right above the chandelier. We have a chandelier in our master bathroom, and it's right above it. So it's like, and then like you just hear the thing just, and I'm like,
I know he's like 5 days off. Remember?
We go like wait till like 8 or 9. Something. It's 4 in the morning, 4:30. She gets up and trains.
She lives with you, bro?
Oh yeah. She
yes,
lives
sir.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know none of that, man. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know
yeah.
that.
So it's it's 8 of us all together. So it's
A lot.
me, my wife, my 3 boys, and not my 3 girls. So I have a 15-year-old, a 14-year-old, and now a 20-year-old. It was a crash course in having a teenager, and thank God my wife is fairly cool and hip, so she can
Oh yeah.
handle
Well, I get to I love them. I love them all. They made me feel at home when I felt like I didn't have a home, or in that moment I felt like I wasn't loved, and that had a lot of to do with me wanting to quit boxing. But everything that I was missing, I found it here. If that makes sense, like it made me feel like I had a family when I felt like at the time like I really didn't, you know.
I definitely see that family dynamic. I remember the last time that you guys came to spar at Maine.
Oh yeah, you met Nicole, yeah.
There, I love Nicole. I was
She loves you too.
Yeah, she's like, oh, Jimmy's my friend.
We are definitely friends. I love her.
I know when you were fighting, she was like, make sure you post Jiffy. I'm like, okay, but my phone was broken at the time, so I couldn't. So I was like, Sydney, post Jiffy.
So something to kind of take from this is that we none of us woke up one day and said, let's all make this let's all big a conglomerate of people in the house. I mean it's already I have 5 kids already, so but it was something where she was always here anyways, because her and Sydney would train together, so Mike would pick them up and then they'd go. Like when I go to work, sometimes Mike would train them at first, and my young daughter. So he'd take them to Sonic after training, and then the girls would just lay around and watch movies or whatever. So they were always together, anyways. And then there was some things going on. So she hung out here for a little bit, and then it just kind of stuck. It just it was really nice to see that laughter, that joy, because when I first met her, there was some kind of like a little. But then you see this like 19-year-old girl. Just doing TikToks and bouncing a ball and running at each other with my daughters.
Oh, yes.
And it was just doing silly stuff, and it was just something that we were fortunate to be a part of. And if we go back in time again, we would have done it sooner.
Yeah, if it fits, it fits. God has His way of like making families without bloodlines, and I think it's beautiful. I like the dynamic. Even when Aliyah introduced me to Sydney, she didn't introduce me as like her friend. She said, "Hey, can you spar my sister?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Like you can sense the family dynamic, and it's a beautiful thing because boxing is a lonely sport.
Watch it, get in here.
It is lonely, and
she taught my son how to play basketball because I suck at it.
Oh yeah, I did.
So she's teaching her how to play basketball.
That's
I don't know how to do that
He's
either.
only like 4 years old, and he's really, really good. Like he has full control of his body and everything. I was so surprised because I was an athlete. I really, not bragging, but I feel like whatever I set my mind to, I could have been the best at it. If it was soccer, if it was track, if it was cross country or basketball, whatever I wanted to be the best at, guaranteed I was the best. And if I wasn't, I worked till I was the best.
And so one of the biggest reasons that I'm a big advocate on, like I want her to believe in herself so much, is because there's so much adversity that some people go through, and they quit, they stop, they sit down, they fall, and to see so many different things that have gone on or whatever with her, and then for her to just always stand up and keep going and then motivate other people, it was something something that I felt. The world had to see it. I mean, there's a lot of people that have it easy, and but
Yeah, I don't really open up about it, but I didn't really have it that easy. I had my mom. My mom was when she could be there, she would be there, but she fought her own demons and she struggled with addiction, and as well as my father somewhat struggled, but like I said, I didn't have it the easiest, but I was pushed through, and then I was the oldest out of 5, so. Like I said, I pushed through everything, and I knew I had a dream and a goal, and nothing was going to take my sight or my vision off of it. So every morning I would wake up and go run, and I would make sure that I would outwork everyone, because I would soak up Kobe Bryant. I would listen to just all the little inspirational, motivational things, and believe it or not, it kept me going. It made me have that mindset that no matter what I'm going through, I define my future.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we've had a few conversations before where I'm just like, where do you get your confidence from? Because like for me, it's opposite. Like I have a lot of confidence outside of the ring because I just have a lot of life experience. But like inside the ring, I have like barely any experiences. So I'm like, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna do. And I just like I see a level of balance for you. You have like confidence in, and I see your growth outside of the ring as well. Your confidence is just like it amazes me. And
Thank
I
you.
So for example, I mean, imagine you have a lot of boxers, you know, at your gym, and can you imagine having a 19 or 18-year-old girl that goes in there, no matter what's going on in her life, she's the first one there. She's out working everybody, she's out running everybody, and then you got guys. I mean, I'm talking 25, 30-year-old men, you know, that should probably go to work if they're not going to put their work into the gym. They need to go get a job and just pay their bills. But what happens is their girlfriend broke up with them. So now they don't want to go to the gym, or just some crap happens, and they don't want to go to the gym. And then to see like this kid that just doesn't. She says, "Hey, it's business. I'm gonna fight, and then I'll worry about that later."
Yeah, I'm a professional. Business comes first, and all the BS to the side at the moment. You know.
yeah,
So,
I think we all need to.
I was trying to keep that mindset.
And it's true too. Like, and I think it's a plus being who you are as a person, your foundation, and then a plus being a woman, because it feels like women can do that. Like we can literally like separate ourselves. I see your face scrunching up, Derek, but like we can do that. Like if our boyfriends break up with us, we're gonna be in the gym hitting the bag and not thinking about it until later.
We talked about something similar. You know, I don't remember which fight it was, but it was. If you got 30 different things that are going wrong in your life, you know, but the one thing you're great at is getting that W, getting that win, you know, motivating someone else because you're going to go out and fight through adversity. Go do that, because the problem's still going to be there after the fight, but what's not going to be there is that chance to feel victory. Glory.
Yeah. I remember a while ago, because I remember telling you that my nerves and my anxiety is like super bad. And I said, like, what do you do, like, before fights, like, to help with the nerves? And you mentioned you don't listen to hype music. You listen to, like, gospel music. Has that changed? Do you do that? Like, what?
I still do that. Honestly, I feel like since I've gotten more confident and comfortable with my skills and I trust it, lately I really don't listen to anything. I'll just jump around a little bit, stretch out, you know. But as long as it's quiet and just peaceful in the room, I feel at peace and at ease, and as like I'm ready to go in. But I stopped listening to music.
Okay, and that's when you know, like you've made peace. Like I don't listen to music when I run because I feel like I don't need motivation for that. But like before fights, I start listening to like prayers and stuff, and I'm like, Lord, I done tapped out.
I need you right now.
But you mentioned like as long as everything is quiet and peaceful, what are some of the rituals that you do, or like some of just the routines that you do before you go into?
Believe it or not, I'm really not that picky. So I stretch out a little bit, and usually even when it comes to sparring, if you notice, I really don't warm up. I'll stretch a little bit, maybe shadow box like 3 minutes and jump in the ring. So honestly, I'll stretch. I'll get my little, I have my little air mattress taped at every fight. Yep, I do. Take my little nap if I'm later in the night, and I'll wake up, feel good, get my stretch on, start getting my little hop on. Because when my little hop's on point, there's no stopping me. That's how you know I'm in my zone. So I make sure my little hop is right. I just start feeling groovy, and once I feel groovy, I'll hit the hand pads, start joking around and smiling. And that's when you know it's going to be my night. Because I'm really, like I said, I'm not too picky. Once I start cheesing, it's game over. I'm in my zone.
Yeah, and you know what? I noticed that about you this last fight. Because outside of the ring, you're very approachable, you're very humble, you're so easy to talk to. But it's like when you get inside that ring, it's like your eyes glaze over, and it's like it's a whole nother beast. And I can see it. And I noticed it that this last fight, I was like, oh shoot, like she is really in like another realm, and I can really feel that you were you're very focused and very confident, and just in like the subtle movements that you make. Can you tell me like what you were thinking this past fight going into?
This past fight, well, believe it or not, the night before, I want to say, the nerves had got to me a little bit. I was talking to Jimmy. I was like, man, she's a vet in it. You could say she has 128 rounds. I only have 6 rounds under my belt. And I was like, do you think we prepared well enough? He's like, girl, don't question your training. He's like, you're in the best shape. I'm like, I know, but maybe I should have ran more Tuesday. And he's like, I'm like, instead of 3 miles, I should have did 6. He's like, no, you're peaking. He's like, you're perfect. Just trust the process. So my thoughts going in, I felt, like I said, I was a little nervous, but as I started warming up, and after the weigh-in, after I seen her, I don't know, for some reason, I just knew. I knew it was more on my side, and I was already starting to feel confident in myself. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, I kind of get it. Because she so I don't, just so the audience knows, you fought Crystal Hoy, who is a veteran. She's been fighting for years. She's been in 9 championship fights. Like you said, she had 126 rounds to your 6 rounds. And she's been in there with like some top people.
Oh yes, ma'am. So that's what kind of like got my nerves working up. I was like, man, I'm still new to this, but am I ready to take the next step? And
so we watched the Ebony Bridges fighter on her third fight, and it was I wasn't a split decision. It was kind of like, it wasn't as night and day as her fight was. So she said, you know what, I'm gonna beat her. I'm gonna beat her better than anyone ever has beat her.
I told Jimmy, I'm like, watch. I'm like, count how many times I get touched tonight. I'm like, I'm gonna try to keep it flawless, but we'll see. And I think myself watching the videos, I think I counted 3 times. 3 times out of 6 rounds.
Yeah, you did amazing. I was telling Derek, because unfortunately he didn't get to watch it. I'm just gonna call him out. He didn't get to watch it, and I told him.
Love you.
And I told him, I was like, I like this lady. I don't know what, like, you like took her confidence or whatever, and I'll let him say it because I don't want to cuss. But he said that she. What did she do, Derek?
What? Shit the bed?
Yeah, she pooped the bed.
I seen highlights, and I didn't know you was kin to G. Nah, me and G hit it off.
Translation: he didn't know that you and Gabriel are family. Because
Gabriel's like a big brother to me, so that's kind of how this all.
Check this out. Me and G hit it off a few years ago, right? Just I can't even remember why. We just hit it off. I know my little brother. I got a little brother, and he's 36 years old or some shit. But a little brother who lives up there in Cairo, and I know he started going to Gabe's gym for a while. You know, just hitting the bag and sparring and shit. And he could have been a great fighter, but unfortunately he moved to Texas away from New Orleans. So I quit training him when I was, when he was little, young kid. But so me and G, we was getting tight prior to that. And then when my little brother's over there, we got tight. So I didn't know she was kin to Gabe. Gabe is my dude. You know how sometimes you just hit it off with people, right? And
yes,
and I'm an outsider, even though I've been here 20 years. Gabe's one of the dudes who didn't give a fuck I wasn't from Houston, so we just hit it off, right? And so just like I was drawn to him, I'm drawn to her the same way, and didn't even know y'all was kin like that. But I was eager to know about. You said you got rooted, but who's your trainer right now, baby? Who's training you?
Trainer right now, Alfonso Lopez and Felix Ramirez. Yes, sir.
Alfonso Lopez understands boxing. See, this shit
yes, he does.
This shit makes sense now.
He made me understand it at a different level.
A lot of that dude was trained by real boxing people, and not just what everybody's carbon copying here in the city. No, he was trained by some y'all know who he was trained by.
Henry Harris.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's old school. That's like it's like my line.
So I went out to the farm, and I was sparring this girl from Dallas, and supposedly she was supposed to be real, real good. And she's all mean mugging me, got her hair braided, and I told Jimmy, look at her, she thinks she's about to give me some competition. And I was
when I tell you, show her she doesn't belong in the ring with you.
And I said, okay. So I do my little thing. I don't even really warm up. I was like, watch, I don't even have to warm up. And Henry's like, well, I don't really like girls boxing, but he's like, show me what you got. So after
they belong in the kitchen.
They belong in the kitchen. So after the first round, I go back to the corner and he says, oh my gosh, you make boxing look beautiful. And he kissed me on the top of my headgear and just started. He's like, well, do this and do this. And I'm like, okay, yes, sir. And I did exactly what he would say. And after, I don't think I got touched. I mean, I had to start taking, it got to the point where I could only use my jab.
Wow.
So, I'm gonna tell you something, babe. And this is just what it is.
Yes, sir.
Ability is nice and it's great, but there's a million athletes that, boxers that had, super athleticism, super reflexes and shit. But without the drive and character to do this and live this, it's just like Jimmy just said. He's spending money with dudes that won't even go to the gym. Well, cut them off because get a job. Because this shit here is going to take ass whoopings and coming back the next day. It's going to take the character.
Amen.
When ain't nobody looking, and when everybody's saying, "Oh, she ain't nothing," or you face some adversity, you get beat. It's going to take the character to get your ass up and head right back to the gymnasium and say, "Fuck them people. I know what I am. I'm about to show you." If they don't got that, there's no sense in even doing business with them, right?
Yes, sir.
Now,
the night before her fight, I remember. I'm sorry to cut you off. She mentioned, hey, well, I'm nervous. I don't know. What do you think about this? And I just said, well, shit, I refuse to believe that everything that you've been through is that this little fight is even a 10th or 100th of what you've been through. And so I say, and I go, and I refuse to believe that the person that my daughter looks up to, I look up to her. I said, no, I'm a good judge of character, and I follow you. So you're gonna go in there and kick some ass.
I know. He was like, I believe on the worst day that you'll still go in there and beat her. And he's like, and right now,
I believe enough for both of us.
And I was like, okay.
Any trainer worth his salt will take a fighter, and his whole purpose is to get them to depend on themselves. Now, that's completely normal. The butterflies and the nerves and say, I hope I trained enough. I hope I ran enough and da-da-da. Luckily, you had a guy who's sitting there saying, no, I watched it. You trained enough. That's just that's just that shit. Get in there and depend on yourself, right? Because when you have that character, and now I didn't know your backstory. I was going off what I seen in the ring, right? And,
yes, sir.
And anybody who know, ask your uncle. I'll tell you the truth, rather it piss everybody off in the room. So when I say, man, who is this girl? She's bad. Who is this? I want to know. It's because that's what you are. Now,
yes, sir. Thank you. That means a lot.
Now, listen, the other shit that's going to be necessary to be successful right here on this show I'm hearing is there too. So now we got the moon. Now you're going to the fucking moon. That's just what it is.
Yes, sir.
And guess what? Don't never take it for granted, because if you take it for granted, you'll get in your own way. And I'm gonna tell you something. And I said this today, and it's funny I said it today, but it's something I've said, my whole, I've learned and always use. But I just said it today. You owe, and who you owe? You owe Gabe, you owe Jimmy, you owe Alfonso, you owe Rudy when they helped. You owe all the people that built your character through the bullshit. You owe them out, but look what you owe them though. This is the fun part. You owe them to be successful, because the ones who helped you, that's why they was doing it. Because wasn't nothing there. They're not gonna what was they gonna benefit from a 15-year-old girl, right?
Yeah, 12-year-old girl.
What was they gonna benefit from taking you over there to Rudy across town? And that wasn't what it was about. That wasn't what it was about. So you owe it to run when you don't want to run. You owe it to do the bag work. You owe it to shake Jimmy's chandeliers and shit when they trying to sleep. Because in the end, I promise you, him and his wife, if they got to put up with some chandelier shaking for you to be successful, they'll deal with it.
Oh, I know they will.
And you owe them to be successful and do the work. Man, this shit is spectacular, man. Let me tell you something.
No pressure though, like dang.
But it ain't about pressure because you gonna do it. Look at you. I see you doing it. And you gonna have the moments of doubt and all that shit because you're a fighter, man. Listen, only fighters, you know, these football players and boxers and football players and basketball players and all that shit, none of them are boxers. None of them don't face the chance of being embarrassed and being knocked unconscious in front of the whole.
Because in boxing, the critics are so hard, and the critics can be people that know nothing about it as well, you know, which makes it worse.
Turn them off because here's the thing, and it's another one. Fuck them. Why? Because fuck them. That's why. I ain't got to explain nothing to you. None of them's doing what you do. None of them's doing the work. None of them's getting up and going have a bad day of sparring and then coming back tomorrow. None of them. So remember, don't take the accolade. Now, I'm giving you some accolades, but the difference is I've been doing this my entire life and born into it.
Sir.
And I'm telling you, you bad. So value that.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Everybody else that'll remember these social medias and shit, when they say, oh, she's bad, mess up and watch how, oh, I knew she wasn't gonna do it. So don't accept the praise neither. Just say thank you and keep it moving. Because them same people's gonna turn on you if you have a misstep. And I'm telling you, you got to turn all that shit off because you got the goods. You got the goods. I'm rooting for you. Listen, I've been said everybody knows how I feel about Jerry Rodriguez, and she's gonna be a world champion. That's just what it is.
That's one of my
That's just what it is.
friends. Yeah.
I'm telling y'all, this girl here is special. Why? Because I seen the ability 2 years ago, I think it been. But now I'm talking to Jimmy and them. I'm going, shit. Okay, there ain't no missing pieces. If she got a support system, and Jimmy, bro, as a man, you got a responsibility on your hands, bro. You taking a hell of a responsibility, and I'm gonna be the motherfucker that's gonna call you out if you fuck it up. I'm gonna say it publicly, right? I know you a man. You got 5 kids and all that. This is a hell of a responsibility, bro. And I'm telling you something. You owe her too, right? You know that. You owe her too.
Yeah. So just so you guys know, like I think when we met, she said, hey, I'm glad I met you. I needed it, but I think I needed purpose as well because I was building houses. I wanted something good to do. I guess I wanted something to put a purpose on. And so we're talking to Felix and Alfonso. Those are good men that and Gabe. He's a good man. I'm not gonna say he's a good dude. He's a good man. He's a good father. He's a leader. And so it was something where I felt that we owed it because where we came from, it was bad. We didn't. I mean, I'm lucky. I'm lucky. I'm here and I'm blessed. And so to be here, I kind of felt like at some point there was a lion up somewhere, and I was walking through his area, and he didn't kill me. He didn't stop me. He let me make it, and because God let me make it, I want to help the next one make it, or the next female make it, and so that's why I sit there and I think that I told her, God gave you a talent, God gave you a father that no matter what took you every single day to the gym, and he did the best he could with what he knew. So I mean, he's an amazing guy.
It could be the last dollar in his pocket, but I was gonna find some way to get to the gym that day.
I'm saying like that guy was always, 100%. And so that's why shout out to Mike. We probably wouldn't have an Aliyah Pequeno right now if it wasn't for Mike's push and dedication. So
as I got older, I was like, man, why are you so hard on me, Dad? Like you were hard on me. And he apologized, but kind of thank him for it now because I wouldn't say I'm like a regular girl or woman. We installed this different beast, you could say, in me.
She took me. So we went running one day, and she said we're gonna run 3 miles. So I was in the Marine Corps. 3 miles is something we do no problem. So I start to hurt. I start to hurt bad, and I'm going. Come to find out, she ran 8 and had me run 6. But on the way back, she kept coming back saying, "Come on, you want to quit?" I said, "Yeah, I want to quit." She goes, "Quit this, you'll quit everything in your life." I was like, "I got this little kid just sitting here, just making man." And then I checked my iPhone and it said, you know how it tracks how far you go.
Yeah.
We went 8 miles, and I'm thinking it was 3.
And I'm in a sauna suit, and it's midday, I want to say.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you know, I'm 40 years old. So.
I know. I told him when we got home, I was like, "Man, Jimmy, I'm like, I wanted to stop so bad, but I couldn't let you see me weak." And he was like, "Oh man."
I didn't care. I said, "I'm weak." I was like, "I'm done. I'm already vomit."
Leave me here. Come back and get me. Pick me up in the car.
I was about to call my wife to come pick me up in the car.
Yeah.
Aliyah, I don't know your personal business, nor do I don't even need to know, right? I'm on the
Yes,
squad.
sir.
It don't matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the squad from today till you done, right? So
All right, yes, sir.
I promise you, I'm there. So you'll see.
I believe it.
All right. Now, as a man with 8 kids of his own and the grandson I'm raising and stuff, I like to tell kids, you know, because it's hard, man, coming up. And me and Jeffrey was talking about it before we went live. But, you know, you do the best you can with what you know. Sometimes you don't know shit, right? So, you know, sometimes we got to just say, "Hey, man, you know, I know you was trying and appreciate that. And I'm going to let you make it. I'm going to let you make it for whatever was fucked up."
Yes, sir.
And keep it moving. And keep it moving and keep going forward and you know, try not to hold a grudge because.
And that's what I've done as I got older. And like I said, I feel at peace. And
Baby
I feel that made me unlock my full potential.
Imagine someone holding you to your worst for the rest of your life, right? Imagine somebody saying she ain't this because of that. Now, that's not me saying forget nothing. That ain't me saying none of that now. I'm just saying to move forward in this world, sometimes you got to say, you know what? I'm not going to hold on to that shit. I appreciate the good you did, and I'm going to keep it moving. That's because it's part of your story, too.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I want to be able to inspire young people coming up also because
absolutely,
that no matter what you go through, it's your decision.
And at the same time, forgiveness is the truest form of love. You know, it's something that I mean, what you said is exactly the words I've said to her like 100 times. Yeah, 100 times. I'm like, because I've had issues with my parents, you know, and I wish I was a better dad to my first kid. I'm a better dad to my last kid because I didn't know, you know, I didn't know how to make a bun.
Has nothing to do with
my second kid, I didn't know how to make a bun. You know, you just get better at it. But so that's where I tell you, know, he did the best he could what he knew. And think about it, you got a single father, you got a man who's taking on the role of bringing up a little girl. That's even a little bit harder because you know, I mean, and then for him to do that and so you know, you'll never hear me say anything about Mike Pequeno other than that. You know, I'm super. You know, I'm grateful that he trained my daughter for a little bit and you know, I mean, he'd take them to eat and stuff when I have to go. You know, I go out of town to work. He'd make sure that they get their food and stuff and work out. So I mean, hats out to him, man. And you know, we hope he's at every single fight. He's a big part of her life. Because I know she fights harder when he's there. I know she looks for that approval. So that's like that.
It's genetic, bro. It's and you know, and the older you get, the more you'll find that mental health. I know that's a big deal right now in the world. They talk about it and shit, but it's always been an issue, right? We just we just didn't know no better.
People are really just like looking at it, recognizing it.
But you'll have a leg up at your age if you realize, well, you know, if I don't let this, I'm not even letting it go for this person. I'm letting it go for me, so I could be healthy, man. And the fact that, like you said, your pops show up, you're gonna fight. You know why? Because that's your pops, man. Rather, he brought you to the gym when you was a little kid, man. And there's nothing wrong with fighting your ass off when your pops right there screaming with you. The best you find that, the more you find that, the more you let go, man, the more success you're gonna have. Don't hold on to nothing. And listen, and we can leave that shit alone. But that's my 2 cents. But man,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
telling you, this girl here, man, can fight. And now that you're telling me Alfonso, see, Alfonso is very, very, very educated boxer, man. And a lot of people don't understand. He knows the little shit. And if you do the little shit, the big shit's gonna take care of itself. That's just what it is, you know. If you in there and you focusing on your hands positioning, what side of the ring you're on, where you at, knowing where you at, knowing where they at, the little small things make all the difference in the world. Mm-hmm. When you start looking at a fight as a whole, and you know, I gotta go 6 rounds with this girl, got 100 fights. I got fucking 3 fights. Man, fuck that. Don't get caught up in that shit. Aliyah, this is what you got to do. We're going to take this round. I'm going to go this way. Oh, she can't go this way. I'm going to go that way now. And them 100 fights didn't help her do shit. And as long as you got people in your corner over there that's got an education and you being trained and developed the way I see. And like I said, it makes sense to me Rudy was there starting you. It makes sense to me that Alfonso was there. All that shit makes all the sense in the world now.
I told Derek, don't get too excited and hijack my interview. Like, I told you, don't get too excited.
Say nothing. This whole time I've been saying nothing.
You over here hijacking the interview. We know she's good. That's why we want her to share her story.
This is the one. I'm telling you, she's one of the ones. I'm telling you. And Jimmy.
I know.
Don't nobody get this shit on like you, bro.
Let me tell you. Yeah, I've heard guys, 20 years they wait for a talent to walk in the gym. And
I know dudes been in the game 40 years, ain't got one. You know
what I'll tell you is that I didn't set off one day and say, oh, I want to be in the ring with a world champion or anything like that. What ends up happening is that I got criticized a lot by different people. Like what are you doing trying to work with a boxer? What's your career? What's your record? What's this and that? And I always pride myself and say, look, man, I'm smart enough to know what the hell I'm not good at. And just because I don't know how to make a 5-star meal doesn't mean I don't know what it tastes like. So once I saw the talent was there, I also knew that we weren't. I felt that we were not going to be able to push it to the next level. So immediately I reached out to Alfonso and Felix Ramirez, and I said, hey guys, do you mind? Actually, I reached out to Alfonso first. I said, hey, do you mind just working my daughter out, just giving her some morning classes. So that day, Aliyah was here too. So they went together. And then I was like, I didn't really care what they did that day. I wanted to see if they meshed. I wanted to see if they clicked. You know, like you can tell when like someone's catching mitts, if they bond, like if they understand each other. And then you got some people you're like, oh man, they don't get each other. They're like completely not in sync. And those two just I mean, it clicked. And so then I was like, yep, I know what I'm doing. And so, because I mean, at the end of the day, if you manage anybody, you got a fiduciary duty to do what's best for them. Not what's best for you, your pockets, for nothing. It's you got to do the best for them. It's like a real estate agent. You got to protect your client. Whether you're the selling side or the buying side. So that was it. And I tell folks, yeah, I don't know how to box, but I know a guy that does, and he's the one that's doing it. So I know how to read numbers, and I know how to count. And I always say people lie, numbers don't. And so and I know Alfonso's going to train her well, and I know Felix is going to be there as well. And I mean, he's a coach as well. They're both 50-50 on that, and they build her up. What I like is that they don't just teach her how to fight. They're building a good citizen. They're building a good person. Because I always tell her, like, I can teach a leader how to box, or I can pay someone to teach a leader how to box, but I can't teach a boxer how to lead. And she has this inherent in her soul to be a good leader. And so, I want to make sure that someone else is out there that benefits from what God gave her, and she can push the next person out.
And that's a great segue into who are you outside of the ring? Like, what do you do other than boxing? Some people have jobs, some people have hobbies. Mm-hmm. I know that you're like very relevant in the community. So what are some of the things that you guys do?
Honestly, we have a gym. We started. I started doing individual classes, like private classes, with women. they would come in a little bit overweight and stuff, and they wouldn't feel so good about themselves. And I would be like, okay, step on
Give
the
them a
scale.
safe space where no one has to watch it.
Actually would have ladies tell me, this is my getaway from my husband, from my kids, and she's like, and you're fun to be around. You make me feel comfortable. She's like, I just met you, but I feel like I can tell you everything. And I remember this lady, we got her to lose 5 pounds in 1 week, and she was like, I feel so confident about myself. I'm gonna post a selfie on Instagram. And just that feeling it gave me, like, to make someone else feel good, it just made me feel really good in the inside as well. So I was like, man. So I do that. Kids classes, I had to stop just because it was interfering with my training, but I did that for a while. And the kids, I love the kids. I was starting to get a bond with them. They're actually sparring, and I was in the corner, and I was like, man, this is really cool.
Some good little girls.
I enjoy it.
Yes,
I had some tough little girls, and they all look up to me, and they're like, so what do you do to get better? And I'll give them little tips, and I'll see them get in the bag this way or that way. And I remember one of the little girls was like, did you see? I tried to do your footwork. And I was like, oh, man. I was like, that's so cool. So just little things like that. I like to make people happy.
She came to your fight. She came to your fight. She's like, look, I got your shirt on. I got your shirt on. And so, it was pretty cool to see you take pictures.
I would say on my free time, I enjoy making other people happy and smile. I do. And I like to give back as much as I can. Like in December, we did a toy drive. We donated toys to churches, to kids that didn't have anything. They would wait in a line. And they would come. Say they had 5 kids, like Justin, Jake, Julie, whatever, little items that they would want, and we had to bag it up and take it out to them.
That work starts as early as October, because you get the letters of a single mother wanting to do something for a child, for a family. Mm-hmm. And then you gotta sit there and you try to match the gift as close as possible. You don't not just throw a bunch of checker games in a bag. It's Jace wants a bicycle. This guy wants baseball equipment. This guy wants, and so every bag had a story with it, and then they, it's just beautiful to see the moms come up there, and then
when I would take it to the car, the mom would be like, don't look in the back. She'd be like, turn your head, and I would put it in, and she would cover it up, and the kids would be like, oh, we got Christmas presents. And the mom would be like, you better act good. And I was telling Jimmy, I came in here the other day with just an idea. I was like, what do you think about making a little job for a little while, just so I could save some money? And he's like, for what? He's like, what do you want? And I was like, well, I was thinking, school's about to start, and what about school supplies? It would be like a drive.
So we're trying to do a backpack drive.
I feel like if a kid starts off with nothing for school, and say you see a kid with all his crayons, his paper, his binder, but then you come with nothing, then I feel like it already sets you up to feel like you're nothing and have a bad school year, and just kind of have that mindset, like, why even try, So I was like, if I can make an impact and change a kid's life, and just, because education is everything, education is key, And
it's the fear of failure. If you walk in somewhere and you feel like you're being judged, or you're being looked down upon, you're gonna shy away. What we don't want is our kids to shy away from an opportunity to learn something, and then
I want them to feel included, involved, accepted, and equal.
Because I talked to her a lot about. She just signed up for school, and so we were talking about. I said, well, when you go to school, I don't want you to go in there because the institution is gonna want to teach you how to be an arm of a business. I want you to be the head. Henry Ford said, I need a pair of arms. Unfortunately, they're attached to a head. And I said, I don't want you to go in there thinking that. I want you to learn so that you're smart, but at the same time, know that you can be bigger than you can own the company, you can own the building, you can, so that's something where it's trying to give the tips I wish someone would have given me, I guess, when I was growing up.
Also, I was telling Jimmy, I want the community to feel like when I win, they also win in a way. So if I am able to give back in a way, I want to.
Yeah, we did turkeys also. I think she sat outside in the cold smoking turkeys on the trailer, and then went around passing them out because I was gonna just give out turkeys, and she said, no, I'm sure if they can't get a turkey, they probably don't got a stove, so we need to cook them. And I was like, shit.
Girls, it's like 2 in the morning.
So much.
It's like 2 in the morning, and we're injecting turkeys. But it's so funny because we injected one, and like the juice goes flying out and she's someone else in the face. Yeah. We're just laughing, having a good old time doing it, and then it just makes you feel good as well.
the whole time, like when you guys are talking, it just makes me think about the quote that my adopted parents used to tell me. You don't know what a good day looks like until you've been through a bad one. And I really appreciate the things that you guys are doing, especially to be so young and to even have that mindset to want to give back. You see, like most people nowadays, it's all about self. It's all about, I want to do this and I want to be great. And nobody ever looks back to their community or where they come from, or
I always
even
tell myself, I want to be selfless in a selfish world, because everyone's selfish and just worries about themselves and me. But what if you could help that kid out and impact his life, and he ends up getting somewhere and he can help someone else out, and then it's just a chain reaction, like a domino effect. So
yeah, it's how you make the world go round. It's how
you never know if that one action is going to keep someone from committing suicide or something. You know, there's a lot of suicide going on, and you know, being from the military, there's always guys that struggle with PTSD, and they take themselves out, unfortunately. And so I always tell her, you know, that interaction, whether you're happy or not that day, you know, you kind of owe it to the world to if you feel like, you know, you got food in your stomach, you got clothes on your back, you got health, to maybe, you know, don't be shitty to the next person. Even if you want to, just you never know if you smiling and shaking their hand and making their day is the reason why, you know, I say, you know what, I'm gonna go one more day, and so it's just something that we just big. That's what, you know, Movida is. It's just something that we want to put out there. Is that, you know, it's not just about the flashy things. It's also about how you can develop someone or how you can keep someone around, because it's how you make someone feel with the initial interactions.
I think it's a beautiful foundation, especially like everything that, you know, you explained that you've been through. And I feel like it's only, you know, it only gets better. And I always tell you that there's no other way than up. Like,
yes,
it doesn't matter what we feel. It doesn't matter, like, if it's the lowest point in our lives or whatever we think. Like, I mean, it can only get better. Everything always works out. It has to. A couple of times, some of us mentioned like mental health. That's actually the work that I do. You know, my background is therapy, and I own Smash Therapy, and I'm a real big proponent in suicide prevention. And I think the work that we do outside of the ring, it helps us in the ring as well. And then, so that kind of brings me like to my next point. What are the goals? Like, what does the future hold for Aliyah? Like, where do you see yourself in 1 year from now, in 5 years from now? Like, what is the ultimate goal in boxing?
The ultimate goal in boxing is, of course, I want to be a world champion. I want to be unified, and I want to be the best female to do it at my weight class. And if I could go a little bit above a weight, like 118 maybe, I want to try to take over as much as I can, as much as boxing has to offer, and give it as much as I have to offer as well. And on the way and on my journey there, I want to help others and make an impact in others' lives. And also, as probably my own management as well, because I'm not signed to anyone. So as I make it, start my own management in time, manage other fighters.
Women,
yes, women, exactly. So yeah, that's the master plan behind all of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was telling her that my oldest daughter, Elise, is really good with Excel. She does a lot of her books sometimes, and she's real just. So I was like, hey,
yeah, maybe, whole team.
Yeah, the girls, I tell them, you should walk in there, like you walk in with your little purse, and you're the manager, and then you're the. So you know, it's something where I get a kick out of them three just going together and doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, hopefully in the future we can work together. You know, I'm savvy.
For sure. For sure.
I know we mentioned earlier off camera about hold on, I had a note. Chocolate milk. Tell me about the Fairlife.
Fairlife, okay. I don't know, it's always been my thing. Instead of like protein shakes, well, he got me started on it big time, because all the time I'd go downstairs, he has this huge mug. He's just drinking chocolate milk. And one day I'm like, can I taste? And he's like, yes. And ever since that moment, it was like, open a new door. I was like, oh, I love chocolate milk. And then I was like, oh, it has protein in it too. I was like, don't get me started. And Fairlife is
you know those tankers, the tankers that they sell at the movie theater for beer, like 1 liter.
Mm-hmm.
So we would go in and we'd buy them just so we have like 6 of them, so we could pour a liter of milk in there, and it's maybe 4, 5, 6, 7,
I know by the time you're done with it.
Of Nesquik and or sometimes we vary one that's healthier with more protein or whatever. But you know, we do, that's something that we do. I do in the morning. I had one before, one in the afternoon, one at night. I mean,
I know by the time you have your so full after drinking it.
Too.
Oh yes, it's good.
Good for recovery.
Yeah. And so after her fight, we went to CVS and we got Fairlife. And it was like something like she wanted it so bad in the aisle, we didn't even pay for it yet. She opens it up, I was like, hell,
I'm still in my uniform.
So we start chugging it. And my daughter's like, oh my God, she's like, yeah, we'll go pay for it. So she takes a picture of it, and then we're sitting there just whatever, and we're drinking it. And then Fairlife, we posted it, and then Fairlife actually responds to us. And so then we started, that's what helped with the communication. Hopefully it goes well on Tuesday.
Yay!
I know, right? Fingers crossed.
That's so cool. So thank you guys so much for sharing. Like, you shared way more than we knew, and I'm sure the audience appreciates, you know, being able to see the story behind this beautiful winner. And you just do it effortlessly and flawlessly. And actually, Marlene and I were sitting and watching you from my laptop.
Yo,
it was
watched it together.
What time it was? Yeah, I was like, "Come over here, Aliyah's fighting!" And so, you know, so we watched it together, and we just like. I mean, you're amazing, and I tell you all the time, like, and I love being in the
room.
That's
one thing I never tell Marlene. Like, in the back of my head, I was like, "What if she watched my fight?"
She's always with me.
Ever since I was little, I remember I met her at Rudy's gym. I was like 12. I remember I just thought she was the coolest person ever, and I was like, I want to be like her so bad. I remember I sparred her, and I was horrible. She took it so easy on me, but just so I got the feeling how it felt. And I remember in school, I would have like a computer class, but I would have my work, and then on the other tab, I would have YouTube, and I would be watching Marlene, and I'd be like just studying. I'm like, I'm gonna be like her one day. I'm gonna be like her one day. So I've always looked up to her. So to know that she did watch it, I'm like, oh.
She gave you headgear once, right?
Yeah, she did give me headgear. She gave me winning headgear for my 18th birthday. So.
Marlene she's like the coolest person ever. You know, her and I are best friends. It's kind of like we just linked. Like, I don't know. It was like, it's like a soul friendship. One day we didn't know each other, and then we sparred. And then after that, like, we're just like best friends. You can't even like take us apart from each other. But, and she's the sweetest person, but she's not as like outgoing and social as I am. So I don't know if I like spill the beans, like, oh, you know, that we sat here and watched your fight together, but we did, and she was.
No, Marlene's been real supportive. Yeah. I mean, she came last year for Halloween to see the girls, and then she brought the belt, and then we all went to go eat together. I mean, she's come to the gym. She's real supportive, and we're big fans.
She gave me my first pair of Hyperco Nike boxing shoes because at that time I just had the little basic Asics. And I remember after sparring one day, she pulls them out of her bag, and they're brand new. And I was like, oh my gosh. To me at that moment, it was like everything I wanted. I was like, thank you, you're the best. And she's like, no problem. I remember they were the green highlighter ones with the little pink in the back. Yeah. And I was like, thank you so much. And I remember I wore them every day till the sole messed up at the bottom. He was already talking.
Marlene, send us another pair. I know you sound like Nike.
She's a very tough love type of person. So if she never tells you, she's really proud of you. So we were watching you, and we were just like, you know, like, wow, you have a bright future ahead of you. And I'm so blessed to be able to even like experience, you know, your friendship and being able to get in the ring with you. I love sparring you. I know it's been a while, but I learned so much.
I have to go. Once my hand heals, I'll be up there.
And I'm sorry, I don't travel a lot, but okay. I love sparring you, and I've learned so much from you. And you know, I think what holds a lot of people back is they don't challenge themselves. They won't get in the ring with somebody that they know they can get beat up by. And for like I'm telling you, you're one of the first people that I sparred going back. And for me, that set the bar. And I want to be able to, like, even the last time that we sparred, I'm like, dang, man, she still beat me up. Like, one day, I want to feel like
making improvement. I'll tell you that. Every time I get in there with you, I notice different things you try. A little bit different head movement. You try to jab more. And I'm like, oh, okay. She caught me right there. You know? I notice everything.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank y'all for coming on. Thank y'all for sharing.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. We just love you so much.
We should do another show together where you guys come over and we do it live.
Yeah, we for sure. I like your studio. I'm about to hijack it. So
they do it, man. No one else is using it right now. Yeah, it just sits here.
I know. We thought you were coming, and we were like, man,
we had to clean and stuff.
Yeah, we're
wiping stuff down.
I was like, what? He was like, "What's vegan that we have?"
So we get to the sushi guy, and we're like, "We want vegan, but we want you to make some rolls, but they gotta be vegan. They have no."
I know our communication lines crossed a little bit, but next time we'll plan ahead of time, so we'll go out there.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, guys, and thank you for what you do for the sport of boxing. It's always I always see you guys out there. When I first got into this, first people I saw out there, with soap boxing and I think it's Manny, your partner, your other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, just great guys, and I thank you guys for giving people a platform to talk on, and Jiffy, I get to see you once a week, maybe. How often do you guys do the show?
Well, we just kind of got back into the routine of it, but we're gonna try at least once or twice a week.
Yeah, we started in January 2019 and did it once a week for like 3 years, and just recently took a little sabbatical, man, where I took a break, man, and we started last week and we got y'all guys, so we're gonna kick it back off weekly, and hopefully that's why Jiff is gonna do our own show. Then we got the regular show, me and Fresh. We trying to build it up, make it a network.
We'll get you. We're gonna give you a sure mic. We're gonna send you one. Jeffy.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we had something cool about whenever. It's because you always say the nicest things about us. A lot of people could go one way with it, but you always been real supportive in that. It's nice to know you got a friend out in the media.
It is.
I never understood why people hate on other people, on other people's success. I want nothing but the best for anybody, for everybody, and I don't gain anything by not telling the truth. I don't gain anything by saying oh well, Aliyah. No, it's the truth. She's good. You guys have I never highlight anything negative about anybody. Why it doesn't?
Because we're always saying that we don't get tired by chopping the next man down. It's what's the point?
You got some metaphors up your sleeve. I'm about to type this.
Hang out.
I eat a lot of Chinese food. They're fortune cookies.
All right, good stuff, y'all.
All right, yes, sir. Congrats on your win.
Oh yeah, you got to see it. I'm gonna send it to you.
I seen little clips. You should send it though. We'll watch it right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you. Yeah,
we'll send you her fight. I actually screen recorded it.
Please do.
Oh man, yeah, because
I screen recorded because there was a pay-per-view people that did it, so I can't actually pull it. So I screen recorded the whole thing on my laptop. I'm bootlegging it. So
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think what it was that happened that night why I didn't get it. And I remember the next day I hit G up, asked him. I said, "Hey man, how she did?" And he sent me a few little clips, where she was working the girl over and shit. And I was like, "Oh man, she was shining." And he was like, "Bruh, she was doing great." But I never, nobody had it, So yeah, man, if you got it, bro, send it to me, man.
Yeah, we're talking to Felix also about talking to them about releasing the content because it's a.
You need it, you need to post it.
Yeah. So
but,
I'll send it to you.
And I'm gonna send you Q's fight, baby. And
all
then
right, yes, sir.
And then yeah, man, I want to check that out, man. And we fighting again in Dallas. They doing some kind of black tie affair for a charity, and they reached out to Quentin for a main event. So I told him we'll do it. We got a good fight. We got this Mexican kid. He's 22-2. I mean, he's a winner. We're gonna go whoop him next. That's what we do.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I appreciate
you so much.
Thank you tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. And y'all come out. Hey, y'all coming out to? I think Alfonso got somebody on my show, on my amateur show, huh? At the Georgia Brown.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Y'all coming out? Y'all gonna be able to come out or what?
Yes, sir. We'll be there.
Awesome, man. Come holler at me, man.
For sure.
We gonna act ass. We're gonna try to keep that up every year, you know, for Cornell.
All right, yes, sir.
That's the plan. Appreciate you, baby.
All right, yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Thank you
All right,
guys.
bye,
All right,
y'all.
Jenna.
All right, bye. Have a good day.
Bye.
You too. Thank you.